So we now have a fair bit of idea about balance sheet, profit loss statement, etc. Now, what are some of the limitations of these statements? Let's have a look today. So I've mentioned two terms here. One is snapshot, other is flow. Now, what is a snapshot? Snapshot is more like your screenshot, right? You want to capture one particular moment. What do? You take screenshot of that situation or picture, whatever it is. And flow is more like what is happening. You want to show the entire thing. Just to give an example, uh, you take a grand photo of yourself, right? For example, you take a group family photo or something. So that family photo is just that one particular moment. To get that one particular moment, what all drama you have done before, you have used your clothes, your makeup, your looks, you went for all that shopping, you spent money, you put a lot of time into getting that look. All those story and drama has taken place before you end up capturing that so-called beautiful moment of yours, and then you portray it to the public. So that is a snapshot. But does that snapshot tell you what's going on behind? No. So what's going on behind will come from the flow. So let's use this example to understand a bit more about balance sheet and P&L statements. Now, have you ever wondered why bankers always ask for previous 2 years or 3 years balance sheet and P&L? Why not just 1 year statement? Can't they understand anything from the single year balance sheet or P&L? Why are they always troubling others with 3 year statements? Let's understand this a bit. Now, I've used my electricity bill to further clarify my point. Now, look at this bill. It says I have consumed. This is my consumption for some month. It is around 208 units. Now, I'm just telling you this that I have consumed 208 units. This is more like a snapshot. Do I understand anything from this? Can you make sense of this 208 units? So that's precisely what happens with sometimes with balance sheet and P&L figures. It is these are just plain numbers and don't make much sense to you. So here, can I understand how and for what purpose this electricity was used? Now, can I understand how much? Yes, of course, I can understand how much electricity was used, but can I understand how I used it for fridge, for cooling, for fans? How much I use for laptop, or my cooking purpose? Can I understand how it flew from the source of electricity to my house and to many products it used in my house? So this entire story you get when you look at the flow concept. Now, why am I saying this? How is it related to companies? Look at this. This is the balance sheet of Domino's Pizza. It is known as Jubilant Foodworks. So Domino's Pizza's their balance sheet as on March 31st, 2024 looks like this. Now, what can I make out from these numbers? I can say that yes, their properties, plant, and equipment is valued at 18,400 crores. That they have a bank balance of 228 crores. Their cash balance is 488 crores. They have some financial investments around 6,645 crores. Now, and their total asset size is 58,000 crores. Now, can I understand? Does this number make any sense to you? Does this tell anything about the company? Now I have slightly tweaked this balance sheet. I have added one more column here, which is March 2023. Now, does this tell you a bit more story about the company and what's happening? Let's look at what has happened to the property, plant, and equipment. It was 13,000. Now it's gone to 18,000. So clearly, they have acquired 5,000 something, roughly 5,000 crores of property, plant, and equipment in last 1 year. Their financial investments have gone down from 6,800 to 6,600. Clearly, they have redeemed some of their investments. What has happened to the cash? The cash part, it was 153 in 2023, and now it's gone to 488. So they have received some cash, roughly 330 crores. Now we have to know from where this cash came from. Again, you look at the bank balance, it has gone down from 2000 to 228. So these are some of the greater details when you see when you see it at from a flow concept. Now you see the things are flowing. It is not static anymore. Similarly, let's have a look at their P&L for Jubilant Foodworks. It was FY 2025 quarter 3 PAT was 410. Now, if I just say this figure, you won't have much idea about what's going on. But when I say it was 610 last year and now it's 410, and that it has gone down by 32%, it does make some sense. Yes, that the profits have gone down, and profit margin was 4.5%. Now it's gone to 2.5%. So now you have some more idea about, it is not static, it's telling you some stories. Now look at these questions. Why were the net current assets down, though the net income was up? Profits were high, but current assets has come down. How the current assets was financed? Did I use long-term loans or short-term loans? What did I do with my profit earnings? How did I distribute dividends? Did I give dividends to my shareholders despite having loss? How this plant and equipment expansion was financed? What happens to the proceeds of plant and equipment? Some equipments and plants, buildings were sold. Now, what did the company do with that money? Sometimes you can see that the liability of the company comes down. How was this debt reduced? From where they got that money? Working capital increase. How did funding come for that increase? How did they get funds to purchase more raw materials? And they, if they issued some shares or bonds or debentures, then what did they use that money for example, a company went for an IPO, they got a lot of money through shares, issuing shares. What did they then do with that money? And finally, where did the profits go? So they got some 400 crores of profit. What did they do with that profit? These sort of questions are answered by flow concept. And in flow concept, we are using two flows. One is cash flow and then is fund flow. So balance sheet and P&L clearly won't tell you all these answers. Okay, so we have to use multiple balance sheets and P&L of many years to arrive at answers to these questions. And these questions will be only understood if you understand the flow of cash, flow of funds from one place to another in a company. So thus, you have to study financial statements. We were just discussing about balance sheet and P&L. Now it is not just limited to that. To understand the entire story of what is happening inside the company, how it is using its resources, you have to study the flow concept, which means cash flow, which means fund flow, which means how there has been changes in the equity or the ownership pattern of the company, and some explanatory notes related to balance sheet and P&L. So I hope you have understood why balance sheet analysis is important and how you have to start looking at companies' data not just from a snapshot point of view but as a flow concept. We will continue our analysis of balance sheet in the next lecture.